I'm also not sure how much they can understand, because sometimes this is maybe just me assuming, but I don't think that they learn English necessarily.
But there are some German words and Yiddish words that are very close. I've used German words, like I don't know if that's okay to do, but like even like schlechte, right? Like that's the same.
The landlord has asked me not to wear certain things.
What did you say?
He said, you can't control what I wear.
Wow.
And I totally respect the way you live your life, but you have to respect the way I live my life.
Hello and welcome back to my channel where I explore Hasidic Jewish life in New York. I've shown you many facets of this community, but what would it be like to live in the middle of a Hasidic enclave when you yourself are not of the community? I have plans today to meet with a couple, Tim Vetter and Leslie, who are teachers in high school. Tim is a podcaster, a writer, and a creative. Leslie is a yoga instructor, and they live here in the middle of Williamsburg, cheek by jowl with the community. I'm hoping especially to hear about their experience as the famed Shabbos Goy by hopefully telling you what the Shabbos Goy is and what their experience is in that very unusual role. So let's go. Thanks for having me. Just coming into your apartment building was an experience. You should know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, you missed this, and I'm really sad that you missed this, but our neighbors were getting rid of a couch. So there was a couch vertically from like floor to ceiling right outside our door for 2 weeks maybe. And then it got moved outside, and part of this is just being in the city, but like kids will play with things. And so once it was moved downstairs, kids were using it like a trampoline and jumping off of it.
How did you come to have an apartment in the middle of like Hasidic Williamsburg?
Yeah, I found it in a Craigslist ad and then met directly with the landlord. And I think just getting a chance to get to know the landlord, telling him about my work and that I'm in education, which was something that he definitely valued. I was just filling out the application, I got approved, and then I was in.
And at which point did you realize that half the staircase is going to be filled with Hasidic kids and completely different culture?
I would say over the past couple of years that has changed quite a bit, but I think it's because the families have grown over the time that I've been here. And so possibly some of the families that are much larger now were not here necessarily. Definitely when I first moved here, I saw all the strollers. So I was aware that there were kids living in the building and the kids that would hang out in the hallway. Almost, it looked like meetings, or like maybe they were playing school of some sorts right on the stairs outside here.
And they had a social hierarchy.
Right? Yeah,
Sure.
They would sort of sit in age order, I should say. They would sit in age order, which was kind of cool to watch.
I'd left my job in 2018 and got rid of or gave away almost everything I owned. Bought a one-way ticket to the Philippines, and indefinitely. I didn't know how long I would stay. But we had met before that, and so my mind was kind of in two places at once. And when I came home to visit for the holidays to see family and to see Leslie, I didn't have anywhere to live. So it was like a temporary setup where I would come here and figure out my life. And, 5 years later, temporary became permanent. But really quick, the first time I met, we had a lovely neighbor named Peter. He was Jewish, but not Hasidic, had escaped a tough situation in Hungary and kind of just blended into the community here. Never worked a real job, like junked scrap metal, and was really useful to everybody. He was kind of the, de facto handyman. And I was going to take an Uber home, I think, because I didn't know where I was, because I was from living in South Brooklyn. And he's outside with this van just full of scrap metal. And they're like, hey, you. I'm like, hey, man. And he's like, I'm going to give you a ride home. And I mean, this is a guy with a van full of sharp objects.
Oh, no.
And I'm just like, I'm not getting in your van, man. But that's who he was. Like, he was genuine. And sometimes he would give us rides.
But he was my first friend in this building. Yeah. He made me feel so welcome. He was really nice. Always took the time out to talk to me. Always checking on me. I should really miss him. It's been about a year now since he's passed.
Oh, he passed away.
And actually, we took this from him. This is our memory.
His apartment was full of wonders that he stole from or borrowed from people's trash.
It was trash.
It was trash. It was for the taking.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us your story about being a Shabbos Goy? Maybe you can tell us if you've had the experience. Because you told me about being a Shabbos Goy.
Here, I want to pause for a moment to explain what a Shabbos Goy is.
Shabbos is the Jewish day of rest starting Friday night until Saturday night, and Orthodox Jews will refrain from doing many things that are considered work, including turning on lights, cooking, changing batteries, and so on. The Shabbos Goy is the person who is a Gentile who can be asked to help out with tasks that are prohibited on Shabbos if the Shabbos Goy is not explicitly instructed to do so. In my video on the eve of Shabbos, I showed that there was a booth where you could ask a Gentile for help on Shabbos, but people will often ask Gentile neighbors like our hosts here.
The first time, I think I was going to meet you at work. You were getting out of yoga, and there was a guy on a corner, and he was just like, "Do you want to come in?" And this is New York. Like,
How does he look?
Oh, he was Hasidic for sure. And I was like, "No, I don't really know what you want." He's like, "No, come in." I'm like, "No, I'm okay." When I came home, I told Leslie, I think somebody tried to pick me up tonight. There was a guy, he came out of his house and he invited me in. And Leslie's like, "No, they need help with something. Like, it's the Sabbath and they probably need something turned on." I just had never experienced that before.
It's my first year here, I would say probably like twice a month. I was helping people who needed it. Maybe I was turning on a light or air conditioner or something. But always they would want to give me something afterwards. So I got ice pops or cookies or chips or something. Occasionally walking down the street would I get stopped to turn something on. But I would say probably my first year here, that was more often.
It's only a walk up here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's no elevator.
Those stairs never get easy. You never get used to it.
Those are hard stairs. And with like, if you're carrying something up, you bring your groceries, you're like...
Oh, yeah.
Those are hard 5 flights.
The thing is, like you were sort of saying, there's a lot of turnover. Usually people come when they have an infant, but the apartments are tiny. So if somebody has a second or third child, then they leave. And there are a lot of children in the building. So the turnover is high. So people are constantly moving in and out. And there's 35 units, I think. And there's somewhere in the 5 to 7 range of those are, Gentiles or whatever you would say.
Yeah.
It's a struggle to get up those stairs.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you feel neighborly, like the neighbors are neighborly to you?
Some.
Do you feel like a fish out of water? I guess that's my question. I suppose I would feel a little...
Yeah.
To me, it's not even an uncomfortable feeling. I feel, if anything, it's more that I'm invisible. When I think of a fish out of water, I think of it floundering.
I see.
Trying to grasp for community that's not necessarily looking for me. I think that there are definitely some people who go out of their way to say hello to me because they recognize me. I've lived on this block for a while. But then for the most part, it's just sort of like we are New Yorkers passing each other.
Yeah.
New York is a pressure cooker. So it's the best city in the world. And then there's times where I'm like, I hate this city. And so everything's set against that context. So if the kids are being really loud on a day when like I couldn't get parking because it's Sukkot and the houses are up and I'm just general New York anxiety, and I'm in a bad mood. But
yeah. Do the kids engage with you if you kind of talk to them?
I'm also not sure how much they can understand, because sometimes this is maybe just me assuming, but I don't think that they learn English necessarily.
But there are some German words and Yiddish words that are very close. I've used German words, like, I don't know if that's okay to do, but like even like schlechte, right? Like that's the same.
What would compel you to say schlechte?
Oh man. So there was a point in time when our floor was the floor to play on.
I see.
So all 30 kids would be riding bikes and, knocking over the umbrella rack and crashing into our door and getting food everywhere.
So you come out, bring your teacher's voice and give them a scolding.
Yeah, it's been way, way better. I probably tolerated it less at first because I was just like, I need quiet after work.
The hard part was that, I would ask them to go play outside or something and not play directly in front of our door. But I don't always think that they quite understood what I was saying.
Yeah, this is at least my perception. Like, we moved into a community that's mostly homogenous, and so it can't be surprising, I guess.
When I came up here, it brought me back so many memories of my childhood because we hung out in the staircase because mom says, get out from under my feet. Yeah. And the staircase becomes the place to convene and have sort of your own dominion outside of mom's like space.
I think that's what's frustrating for us because we totally understand why you want your space. You live in a small New York City apartment. You want a minute to even just clean your house and to cook your dinner without having your kid on top of you. But for us, it gets frustrating because we can just hear them right through the door. But now they generally, you know, we've talked to their parents and they generally like hang out on the
Lower floor.
fourth floor.
Yeah, the gentleman directly below us always goes out of his way to talk and say hello and have like a short chat. And I think he was pretty helpful with that.
I couldn't imagine being maybe like a 2-year-old and my parent, you know, saying like, okay, go out into the hallway and go hang out. And like, I trust that your sibling will make sure you don't fall down the stairs. But they grew up in such a community where anybody on any floor actually would protect that child.
Yeah.
So it does feel like that sense of security for them.
I mean, kids will even leave their bikes and their scooters and stuff out overnight and it's there in the morning. No one takes it, which is, I think, rare for anywhere.
Did you try to take it ever?
No.
Take a kid's bike?
I'm kidding. It was a joke.
We've definitely crashed into stuff.
Do you feel like people make you maybe feel objectified or bad for being a woman dressed in I don't know, Western clothing?
Objectified? No. Shamed in some way? Sometimes. The landlord has asked me not to wear certain things.
Wow.
Just, not to step on you, but it's just exercise clothes, right?
Yeah, it's a sports bra and I was going for a run.
What did you say?
So you can't control what I wear.
Wow.
And I totally respect the way you live your life, but you have to respect the way I live my life. And I could understand if I was wearing something that had hate speech on it. I mean, I'm a yoga instructor. I don't think it's so unusual for me to wear a sports bra. I will say that I feel really safe in this community. Never have I felt that my life is in danger or I'm threatened. And even though I know I'm not necessarily part of the community, but I think it's just the culture that they've built. I just kind of get the benefits from that.
I don't want to speak for you, but there's plenty of times outside of our immediate community where you get comments and catcalled and stuff like that.
True. By the way, do you celebrate like Christmas or holidays in a big flashy way?
Not here. I mean, we do celebrate the holidays mostly, but never here.
Yeah. I've come from a really big family, so our apartment would never be able to hold some.
All apartments are this layout?
No. Most are. There's a few in the front that are bigger, and there's a couple families with many more children, and I think they have more rooms.
You don't have a balcony?
No. There's hardly even airflow in here.
It's good. I think it's pretty good. It's been really hot outside.
Yeah, it's been brutal.
Today,
Well, this maybe is interesting, but our neighbor one time asked me to turn on the air conditioner, and they have 2 children, and it's the 2 adults, and it's the same layout. It's 1 bedroom. And I went in, and the parent was actually like in bed, and I helped them turn on the AC, but it's 4 people in 1 room. It's New York. It's, we get by however we can, and it's cramped.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah.
So what, they have a living room, they have a dining room where you have a living room?
Yeah. A dining table, it almost looks like encyclopedias, like very old school looking books, a lot of them on shelves. And chandeliers, like that's a big thing we talked about, but...
Yeah, I don't always see couches.
No.
So I think living room culture is trickling in, but when I was a kid, we didn't even have a couch. Can we see your apartment and maybe take a walk if you're both game outside or if you just want to... All right.
So this is our kitchen.
So you do have 2 sinks.
We have 2 sinks. However, we do not use this one ever.
Really? Why?
I think it was leaking at one point a few years ago, and it just became easier. So sometimes what we'll do is we'll put the toaster in here if we want more counter space. Or when I'm cooking, I'll put the bowl in here where I'm chopping vegetables and put them in there. Yeah, I think all the apartments in the building have the 2 sinks.
Can I ask if this is a real croissant?
Okay, yes. I just bought this 2 weeks ago. This is a real croissant. And I bought it in Paris, but it got hollowed out and then sort of shellacked, and now it is a light.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wait, is there no battery? There might not be a battery. Oh, there's
a battery. It does have a battery.
Is it not dark enough in here to see it? Or maybe we left the light on too long.
It
But-
used up the battery.
Now it serves as like a, yeah, you can't see it, a little nightlight.
It's a nightlight out of a real croissant.
Out of a real croissant. We try to get magnets from all the places that we've been.
I remember when you interviewed me for your podcast and you said, what are these piles of wood outside with like smoke going up and it sounded like some sinister. Did you figure it out?
No, that happens once a year, right? Where
the piles of wood gather outside.
Yeah, it almost looks like trash is swept together and burned, and then it's left there, and Department of Sanitation comes and like cleans it up, and it's like still smoldering.
You're talking, that big fire.
Yeah.
Where people throw stuff in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that? I forget.
Yeah, that's Strijfelschametz. It's like the burning of the bread before Passover.
Okay.
Yeah. But you were asking me about the pile of wood that was like outside those places, and then they bring out coal.
Oh yes, and it was a bakery.
It was
Which I think
matzah bakery.
Gone now. Yeah.
I think there was a fire in the Papa Matzah bakery.
Right down here. Yeah. Over by the train, by the JMZ, there's wood, and it looks like wood for a fireplace in those containers.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
And
about.
we see them bring out garbage cans
We
full
always
of coal.
ask ourselves, why has no one ever stolen this? And
Yeah.
we're like, well, no one has a fireplace. So what would they do with all this wood? Yeah.
Who has a fireplace?
I was like, is coal used for something? And Frida's like, no, there's a bakery there.
Yeah, because it did sound like maybe there could be plot of a story.
Yeah.
No, but it almost looks like a warehouse. That's why we were a little unsure of what it was.
It is like this big commercial bakery where they make a ton of matzah for Passover.
That street is really mysterious too. Because there's always just like a lone guy and he walks into a door and it's unlabeled and you're like, what happens back there?
They know.
Yeah,
You're a writer. You can make stories.
Yeah.
Take it from there.
yeah.
Grist for the mill. Well, if
You should actually film some of the holidays around here if you haven't. Like
I have filmed some of it today.
Okay.
We got Keith. We got footage of the sukkahs. What's your favorite?
I believe it's a holiday, but a wooden structure is burned in the street and there's a lot of dancing and it goes all night.
Yeah. That's
That
like
one's-
Boimred. I never filmed that. It is
Wild.
beautiful, right?
They do it right like a couple buildings down from us. Yeah, it's wild.
You get to see everything. You know, I feel like I see quite a lot from an outside perspective as a tour guide.
Oh yeah, when a new Torah is gifted and there's a whole procession down the street that just fills the whole block, that's really wild too.
Also, I think, I'm never quite sure, but I think they're weddings. I often see a lot of weddings. I mean, I'm sure they have a party or a celebration after the fact, but that it's done outside. Yeah, I don't know. That to me, I found interesting when I first moved here.
Purim too, I don't know how we didn't think of that, but Purim is incredible. It's like chaos around here, yeah.
Have you participated in anything like Purim? Gotten yourself enmeshed?
I gave out dollars last year. So basically I was taking photos because the kids collect like cash. Towards the end of the night, there's a lot of people who leave their doors open and like you can walk floor to floor to get to our 5th floor and just hear people yakking, like throwing up from floor to floor because they're just so sick off of wine.
Purim.
It's wild, yeah.
So what's your experience with the window gates?
The fact that the kids hang out in there?
Yeah.
I grew up in the Poconos. There's no gates on any windows there. So, I think from someone who's not from New York at all, it would seem like, oh, this is really strange.
It feels old school in a way. I mean,
Yeah.
kids will pull things that are out of the trash, and that's 8 million people in a very small amount of space. It's New York City. Like you're gonna find enjoyment however you can. So for sure, the first time I was in the neighborhood, I was like, oh my God, our kid's gonna slip through the bars. But it's so normal now.
Thank you so much, Leslie. I'm so happy you're able to join us. I'm hoping you can show us around and you can hang out with us a little longer.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. The original plan had been that it was just going to be an interview between myself and Tim, and I was very lucky that Leslie had a little bit of time before her yoga class to join us. So once we went for a tour of the neighborhood, it was just me and Tim and the cameraman. It is very nice here.
Yeah, this is the spot. And then, at sunset, it's really beautiful because you have the skyline and it comes down.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And the only people who will come up here are goys.
The kids don't care. They wouldn't be allowed up.
No. People come up, to get sun, or some people do yoga and stuff on the roof. So we don't have the balcony, but we have the roof.
Yeah, this is good.
The other thing is, most people have washers in our building, except for us. So sometimes there'll be stuff drying on the line, and it's,
Where do you do your laundry?
It's a place on Broadway.
Yeah.
It's called the Rainbow, yeah.
Wheel your stuff out.
I mostly carry it, but yeah.
Yeah. You are not Jewish?
No, I grew up Roman Catholic on Long Island. I'm not religious, so I was Roman Catholic not by choice, but by family. After college, I came to the city. I lived in Sunnyside, then I lived in Bay Ridge, then I went to Asia, and then I've been here. So my adult life, my working life, I've been in the city. Yeah. Leslie alluded to traveling earlier, and we did 6 months in Bolivia. We're not at the Four Seasons. We're staying in people's homes and hostels, and we're used to immersing ourselves in cultures that aren't ours. And so this kind of feels like that.
You'll show me something that
Sure.
pops out to you. Oh, it smells like honey cookies. That's what it smells like.
I think that's her.
Yeah. It's the season for honey cookies, and boy, does it smell good. Hello.
The funniest thing about this, we took it down. There was something up here, literally must have been up till this week, that was like, don't put your strollers here.
I've seen it in other buildings. What happens when you film?
It depends. I'm actually doing a photo project where I'm documenting the neighborhood.
What are you going to do with it?
Sometimes, I don't know, just hang on to it until maybe someone's interested. On Purim, some people would come right up, take my picture. And one guy was even like, I have an email address, send me the pictures you took today. And then other people are like, what newspaper do you work for? Who's going to publish this? I'm like, nobody, it's just me, I live on here. Yeah, there's a bookseller who goes over to the bridge over the BQE.
Yeah, the overpass.
Yes, and I've gone and shot pictures of the books before. And he'll always be like, where are you from? What are you doing here? I live on Hughes. Really, really calm.
Yeah.
Usually about this time, there's kids everywhere. Young kids by themselves.
That is so interesting that you could pick up on the credit system in stores.
Oh yeah, I think, so somebody told me recently that it's also a way to help people who are in need, because you can be like, just give them my number if you don't have cash this week or whatever, and it'll be charged to my account. This is a bookstore.
You walk into these shops without a problem?
Yeah, not the bookstore, because there's nothing I could get. Everything's in Hebrew. But sometimes if Leslie pays, they won't take the cash from her. She has to put it down on the table, and then they'll slide it.
Yes. The men are not supposed to take directly from the hands of a woman.
Ah, okay. Even driving school, it's everyone on the block has a van or an SUV.
I know.
There's so many kids.
It's like you can tell a neighborhood by its cars. There's a ton of minivans and SUVs and buses here. I don't think I've ever been in this grocery store.
No?
No.
See? A kid buying stuff by themselves. I'll probably grab a drink or something. Sometimes they have juice and fermented borscht.
Really?
I'm not buying that, but...
We were looking for borscht the other day, a live probiotic drink. Did you ever have cheese plinces? It's a very...
Of course, yeah.
What's your heritage like?
German and Irish.
Really?
Yeah, that's how I know German, to be able to understand some of the words.
Some of the Yiddish.
These are delicious.
Do you like cinnamon?
Oh yeah, but this is a typical Shabbos goy reward.
Yeah. Okay, then we have to have some.
Cool. We'll do.
This is their depiction of the arrival of the Messiah. He's coming to Brooklyn. Look at that. This is a typical Shabbos goy reward.
Yeah.
I am getting. What do? You get people are like, here, take food.
You're not allowed to. I mean, you are, but it's almost offensive if you don't take the treat. Because there's been times I'm like, no. And it's like, no, you have to take this.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for a lovely afternoon.
Yeah, I'm happy to be a part of it. I love your channel. We watch it all the time. So.
Oh, awesome. It was so fun to talk to you last time for your podcast, and I was really excited to kind of document some of what you see, because I come to this community with insider, outsider eyes. Sometimes I have fresh eyes, but not always.
Right.
And the way you experience it. It's also, to me, it's a lovely story of cultures colliding.
It's similar to traveling. I think the more that you can sort of immerse yourself in a culture that's not yours, the more you can understand people, and hopefully the less, I don't know, negativity, bigotry, hate. So